You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700. Buckle up as anything goes and having fun is the only rule we have. Now here's your host, Nick Apostolopoulos.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nicksology. As the man said, I'm your host, Nick Apostolopoulos, the proprietor of 619 Vodka. As always, you can follow us on the web at Nicksology.com or Facebook.com/Nicksology. Through there, you can get to the YouTubes of these videos. I just posted the rest from this month last night, so they're all uploading right now. And something kind of exciting, finally, after much delay, because I'm just lame and took forever, we have our Twitter and Instagram up. So it's Nicksology SD. Nicksology SD. NICKSOLOGY. I can never spell that. SD on Instagram and Twitter. And lovely Carly over there is monitoring the Twitter feed. So if you actually have any questions for the guests today, you can tweet them to us at NicksologySD, and we'll get them. We'll get them asked on the air. Man, I need a drink. So we're lucky with us today. We have Steve Kozyk from Kilowatt Brewing. Thanks for coming back, Steve.
Hey, thanks, brother. Thanks for having him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's great to have you back. And we have a great treat today because I love me a good rum. We have Ken Lee from Malahat Spirits on, man. How's it going, Ken?
Going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, dude. So I was looking through your bio and whatnot, and you did you actually start out a whiskey connoisseur, a whiskey drinker, more than anything?
I did. I started off probably about 20 years ago when I first got introduced to Scotch, and I've been drinking whiskeys neat ever since. You know, pretty much started with Scotch and then went to bourbons and various other alcoholic beverages.
Okay, yeah, because I'm a bourbon guy too, which is kind of weird because you started a rum company and I started a vodka company, but but my heart is still in whiskeys, generally speaking.
We have whiskeys too that were barrel
I saw that you're working on those, right?
Yeah.
Let me get this thing out of the way. I can't really see it there. There we go. So cool, but you started down this road because you decided you kind of wanted to just recreate some old recipes that you'd had at home in Korea. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, when I went through this period where I was basically tracking down a bunch of my mom's recipes to kind of pass on to my girls, and during that whole process, I remembered my first alcoholic drink that I ever had was this rice wine on our family farm back in Korea. And so I recreated that rice wine after basically, calling up a bunch of different relatives and whatnot. And then from there, one of my partners, Tom, he's also a home brewer. We started, testing different types of batches that we were making, decided, hey, wouldn't it be fun to kind of create something new out of this and actually try to distill it? And that's kind of where everything started. That's
cool. So the rice wine, is that like sake or is it different?
Yeah, it's like a sake. It's more of just a fermented sake. It's non-distilled.
Okay.
But it's actually really tasty. I still make it on occasion.
That's pretty cool. So does that falls under like the home brewing rules then?
Yes, it does.
That's cool. And do you guys plan on doing that with Malahat at all or no?
Probably not. I mean, if I was going to do it, I might try to make a sake, like a soju out of it.
Right.
That would probably be the most likely next step.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, so, you can go ahead and pour some of those so we can start tasting.
Oh, yeah, sure. Definitely.
I could use a drink, but, oops, I think I broke my chair. So your background is in finance, though, right?
It is in finance,
and your partners as well, right?
Yeah, one of my partners, Tom, also has a finance background. We actually used to work together eons ago, and then Tony has a background in manufacturing, actually.
Okay, and so do you guys still do any of that, or are you all 100% into the distillery?
We're 100% into the distillery. We have been for 3 years. I mean, the whole process takes a lot more time you think, and a lot more work than you think. And,
dude, trust me, I know. Yeah. It's one of those things where you take the time and the money you think it's going to take, and you just double it at least because that's what it's going to take.
And then triple the time on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. No, like we're talking about the infusions, man. It's taking forever for us to do that. Cool. What are we sipping on here?
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to sip is our white rum. This is our base. It was really important for us to develop the right base for all of this because it was going to be basically whether it goes in a barrel or goes into our spiced or ginger or any of our other products, we needed to get that right in order to make everything else. What we really wanted to do is create something really different and unique, and the only way we could really do and really actually create something sippable. I drink everything neat,
right?
And so I really wanted to create something that was really sippable. And there really aren't a whole lot of rums out there that you could really sip straight.
Yeah,
and really
I like this a lot. So now, educate me a little bit on. So obviously, there's you see white and dark rums and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of is it? I'm trying to think now before I ask a really dumb question. Is that like the only spirit that's like that? I mean, I know you can have like white whiskey, but it's not really whiskey until you age it in a barrel, right?
Right.
But rum is just basically made from sugar or molasses. Or what do you guys use as your base?
We use molasses. So rum always has to be sugar cane based.
Right. Okay.
And molasses is a byproduct of sugar cane. It's actually how one of the first kind of big taxes that was placed on the colonists was the molasses tax, and that kind of spurred a big part of the revolution in terms of fighting against the taxes that the British were putting on us. But anyway, so we use molasses base, and for us, we really want to get that combination correct. So we actually spent 6 months basically testing all sorts of different yeasts and molasses, kind of taking a page from the brewer's book. Living here in Beertown, USA, we really understood how much yeast impacts flavors. So what we did was we just got every yeast and molasses combination we could for 6 months, and we just tested it over and over again until we got something that we could actually create that we really loved. And ultimately what we ended up doing was combining two different molasses and a strain of yeast not usually used for rum. And our yields are much less, but we're totally driven by flavor and not by volume.
Right.
And so we're giving up a lot of volume in order to really get the right flavors.
Yeah, no, I like that flavor a lot. So and of course I understood there's a lot of different kinds of yeasts, but how many different kinds of molasses are there?
It was a function of getting it from different areas. So we got it geographically. We went to different parts of the world, and as well as many, many different suppliers. And so that was the first step, is finding as many suppliers as we possibly could, and just we did this broad search and just started calling everywhere we could for molasses.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And so what you said you settled on two different kinds?
Yeah, we did. Two different molasses. They're both from the U.S., from the Gulf states.
Okay.
And we're really happy with it. We thought we were going a completely different direction, and it was just, literally it was one of our last batches that we were testing out, and it just ended up being, really tasty. So
this is awesome. So what do you distill to? How high do you distill it?
So we distill, coming off the still, we distill it about 180 proof, a little bit over that.
Okay.
And then, the trick in distillation is, when you spend 6 months basically, testing every combination you can get, you really want to, and you take a lot of pride in the materials that you use. And so we wanted those flavors to really pull through. And so we did a lot of testing of different tweaks on our still to get the flavors just right, and it ended up being about 180 proof for us.
Okay, that's cool.
It absolutely shows. I mean, these are beautiful.
Dude, this tastes amazing.
Beautiful rums.
Yeah.
I mean, I am blown away.
Thank you.
Literally.
Thank you.
Because my dad is a big rum drinker. In fact, in the next segment, I want to ask you some questions about some stuff like Myers and whatnot. But yeah, I'm blown away by this too, because I like a good rum, and even some of the times, where I've tried to do something as a gift for my dad, I'll be somewhere and I'll see a rum I've never heard of, but it's such and such a thing, and it's 12-year whatever, and I buy it thinking, oh, this will be awesome, and it tastes like crap.
Yeah.
and it's like, so it's kind of, it's one of those, it's really hard to find a good rum, and just this is kind of like, sorry to keep rambling, but I had a tequila guy in here a few weeks ago. And they make, he has a small farm down there that he makes tequila on, and usually when you taste tequilas, you go, okay, give me the Blanco because I have to taste it and then move on. Mm-hmm. And his Blanco is freaking amazing, and I feel like this is the same way. Like this is a really good plain white rum. It's crazy.
I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I mean, I just realized right now I never knew what a good rum was.
Yeah.
I mean, really, is that good?
Awesome.
This is a different class.
Thank
honestly.
you, thank you. I mean, we get that a lot. Fortunately, when people come into the tasting room, and they're, we've actually had quite a few people come in and say, I usually don't like rum, but I really love your rum. I mean, it's funny when we get guys in there that come in and just say, no, I've sworn I will never drink a spiced rum.
Right.
I don't want to taste your spiced rum, but then they kind of end up loving it after that.
That's kind of funny. Yeah. So what is this second one? Is this the spice?
So this is the spice. So
okay.
when you smell the bouquet on that, and it's really, really unique. And reason being is that we really took a lot of time. So the spice took about 5.5 months to actually develop.
Amazing.
And it's so good.
The key for us is we're really proud of a couple of things. We're proud of the fact that we make every single drop. We don't buy a single drop. But the other thing that we're really proud of is the fact that we use only natural ingredients.
Right.
And so in this spice rum, there actually is about a dozen different herbs and spices in there. So we're literally hand splitting every vanilla bean. We're crushing every cinnamon stick. I mean, it's the real deal.
No, that's awesome. I'm laughing because I feel your pain because we've been trying to do the infusion for 6
yeah.
And I'm sitting there chopping cucumbers, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't think I'd be in this part of the business, man. I thought I'd just be making cool vodka.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
You know. But that's cool. I mean, you can definitely taste it. This is really good. Is there sugar in this too?
There's a tad bit of molasses thrown back
in.
Yeah.
Man, you can totally taste that.
Amazing.
The flavor's awesome. So cool. And so did you make? Obviously, you worked on the plain vodka the plain rum first.
Yes.
And then did you go spiced and then the other ones, or did you kind of do them? Experimenting all at the same time?
Yeah, no. There was some overlap in there. The first thing was just getting the white rum down. But once we got that down, it was just a function of really experimenting with different spices. So the spiced rum was that we knew right away that the spiced rum was something that needed to be developed. And
Dude, that's so good.
Thank you. And so we did, and then from there we really kind of went to a bunch of different tropical fruits, thinking, okay, rum, tropical fruits, it makes sense.
Right.
But the only limitation that we have is the fact that we want to use only natural ingredients. And so if we're using natural ingredients, I didn't want to get a batch of banana number 5 and toss it into a vat, So, but I
know the feeling.
yeah, exactly. And from your experience, you know exactly what kind of difference it makes using real ingredients.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, the flavor profile just can't be copied like that. So,
all right, well, we're up against the break. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to try the other two for sure, and I want to ask you some more questions about, like I said, Myers rum and the different kinds of rum. So we'll be right back right after this on Nicksology.
You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700, brought to you by 619 Vodka, who reminds you to always drink responsibly. Find out more at 619vodka.com.
Hey, Mr. Credit here. If you ever catch me at happy hour, you'll probably catch me drinking a vodka martini. Now, I don't always drink vodka, but when I do, I drink 619 Vodka because it's local vodka from right here in San Diego. I know the owner, and you can meet him too. Go to 619vodka.com and think 619 Vodka when you're out there having a good time. That's 619vodka.com. And of course, remember to always drink responsibly.
CS Keys here to tell you about San Diego's handcrafted ultra premium vodka, 619 Vodka. It's distilled and filtered 5 times, gluten-free, and made from 100% pure mountain spring water for a smooth, clean finish. It's a 2-time silver medal winner and a 2-time gold medal winner already in 2013. America's Finest City has America's Finest Vodka that everybody can experience. Just go to the website, 619vodka.com. If you know like I know, you better tell somebody.
Want to be sure you're paying the right price for your next new car? Introducing Kelley Blue Book's Price Advisor, the powerful new tool that shows you what you should pay. It gives you a fair purchase price that's based on what others recently paid for the same car. With decades of trusted pricing expertise behind it, it's the only site that gives you the confidence to make a smart new car decision. So visit the trusted resource today, kbb.com.
The strengthening of Mexico's democracy is in everyone's hands. If you were a booth officer, electoral supervisor, or assistant electoral trainer in the past elections, participate in the national contest of citizen testimonials about the electoral process 2014-2015. Tell them your experience, and together you can improve the electoral process. Get the details at ine.mx or call 01-800-433-2000. The due date is January 29, 2016. With you, Mexico is more. Join National Electoral Institute.
If you're looking to save money on Medicare Part D prescriptions, just swing by Walgreens. With everything from copays as low as $1 on select plans to now reward points on all prescriptions, Walgreens helps you get more. And who doesn't like more? So seize those Medicare Part D savings because you, my friend, have earned them. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
$1 copay for Tier 1 generics. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, and Arkansas. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Play to win your share of $1 million every week this football season at DraftKings.com. With 1 week fantasy at DraftKings, you can play when you want with a team you want. Just pick your contest, pick your team, and pick up your winnings. Hurry to DraftKings.com now. Use code GRIT and play for free with your first deposit in Sunday's $1 million fantasy contest. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Enter GRIT for free entry now only at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
And now, back to Nicksology on ESPN 1700. Brought to you by 619 Vodka, who reminds you to always drink responsibly. Find out more at 619vodka.com.
All right, welcome back to Nicksology. As I mentioned before, you can get to us on Instagram and Twitter, NicksologySD, at NicksologySD. And we have Steve Kozyk from Kilowatt Brewing, who's enjoying the rums as much as I am, and Ken Lee from Malahat. So, Ken, we were talking off the air, so because I was curious that spiced rum has a great color to it, but that doesn't come from the barrels, you said, right? That didn't work out, so it's all just the infused ingredients?
Exactly. So we tried doing it pre-distillation and post-distillation, and as well as putting it actually in a barrel.
Right.
And so what ended up happening is you ended up pulling too much of the oak, and so that didn't work out. Right, and so we found it to just be much better as an infusion as you really start pulling a lot of the different flavor notes from all the different spices that are in there.
That's so cool. And then you've got we're about to try the ginger one, right?
Yes.
And so that's just raw ginger.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually hand peel every ginger root, and kind of going back to only using natural ingredients. And one of the things that we really wanted to do with this is, to make it unique, like all of our products. Really wanted to pull the citrus notes and the flavors, and pull that through forward, and then finish it up with some of the heat at the end.
Right.
And so it's really easy to punch up any ginger product. All you got to do is macerate it, cut it really finely. So it was really a matter of testing so many different ways to slice the ginger, just so that you can make sure that you arrest some of the heat, and really pull that citrus forward. And so basically first we tried ginger from all over the world.
Right.
And then from there, once we isolated an area, it was a function of just slicing it just right. So we did everything from, macerating and putting it in a Vitamix, and to one time I was driving through the drive-through at In-N-Out and saw the French fries being made, and I thought, hey, we'll try that too. Got a French fry press, and that didn't work out at all. And so it finally came down to, we found the right way to slice it. Works out well, and by limiting the amount of surface area you have on the ginger, you actually pull that citric acid, the citrus, forward.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to get you drunk and pick your brain on this, because we've been trying to do a ginger vodka.
Oh yeah,
we get a lot of requests for it, and we're not even close yet. So I haven't done a lot of experimenting with it yet. We've been working on other things, but this is phenomenal, dude. Because you're right, it's got that flavor, but not.
Doesn't
it's
have
not that heat of
yeah.
it's really good.
And that's the first thing I picked up on was the citrus notes.
Oh yeah,
It's great.
Which I didn't know existed in ginger. Until I was drinking this.
Yeah, we kind of found that out the hard way too, because the first time we were hand peeling the ginger, we didn't realize we needed to wear gloves for that. So we literally got acid burns on our hands.
Oh no kidding!
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, totally healed and we're fine, but just kind of one of the growing pains.
Oh man. Very nice. And then, all right, what's this last one? I don't think I've heard of this one before.
Yeah, so this is our black tea. So basically, tried many different ingredients and started working with different types of teas. We found that the black tea worked the best. The boldness of the black tea leaves actually was a great complement to the rum. And what it did was it just gave a really well-balanced palate. The flavor notes are, you get a lot of the softness of the black tea notes in,
right.
And but the amazing thing is that as subtle as that could be, when you put it into a cocktail, the black tea really kind of pulls through really nicely.
Pops out. Yeah.
An Arnold Palmer with this thing is just ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Man, that's so good. Yeah, that's phenomenal. And so, Do you try and obviously source everything fresh and whatever, so the tea is the same thing?
Exactly.
You source that stuff. And then, so tell us a little about the name Malahat. It came from a rum running ship or something, right?
Yeah, so when,
you guys did a lot of research before. I mean, it sounds like, I mean, you guys are all background in finance, but it sounds like you're all like mad scientists and researching, going to the library, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of mad scientists in us, and we're very, very thorough in everything that we do, and very, I mean, that's why we spend so much time even with the recipe development. But so when we set out to do this, we really wanted to tie the distillery to San Diego.
Right.
And so, we did what anyone else would do, just did a Google search on distillation in San Diego, and there wasn't a whole lot that we found in there. So we went down to the public library, went down to the archives over there, scoured through a bunch of the old archives, and again, couldn't find a whole lot on distillation in San Diego. So from there, we went ahead and went to the San Diego Historical Society, went down to the basement in Balboa Park over there, went down to the archives, and we went through everything from articles to tax ledgers to anything that we can get our hands on, and we really couldn't find anything again.
Right.
And then we started coming across these articles about how the Coast Guard was having trouble with these rum running ships that were supplying all the booze to California, and during Prohibition.
Okay.
And the largest of these rum running ships was the Malahat. It actually carried more contraband liquor than any other rum runner. It was the largest in the Pacific. It was a 5-masted schooner with twin diesel engines, and it was known as the Queen of Rum Row.
Is it still around?
No, its heyday was definitely during Prohibition.
Right.
When Prohibition ended, it became a lager up in Canada and in British Columbia, and now is a diving site off of British Columbia.
Oh, well, I'll have to go dive the Malahat.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Right on.
So is that what led you guys to do rum as the? I mean, was the decision rum before you found this out, or you kind of just wanted to do spirits and then you found this story?
Anything that we make, the whole point of anything we make is that we just love to drink it.
Right.
And so that's why we were, barrel aging our whiskeys, and that's why we created our rums, because even with the rums, there were just a handful of rums that were always the kind of go-to bottles of rum that you would go and you'd sip and you would just kind of enjoy. And then, so we thought, this has been kind of a broadly ignored category for a long time. Kind of like the analogy you made with tequila. There's these great sipping blancos now, but 15 years ago, you always had to chase a tequila shot with a lime wedge because you just want to get rid of that.
I'm with Steve, and I'm not blowing smoke. I feel like, I've had some decent rums in my day, but it's kind of like, oh, there's Bacardi, there's this, there's that, and then there's this stuff, which is amazing.
Thank you.
So I mentioned a little earlier too, and you said off air you didn't really know, but so I was talking about Myers rum.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's just the barrel aging that makes that different and more syrupy and whatnot?
Yeah, it's a combination of different things. It's a combination of the whatever materials are using for that, but a lot of times, it also depends on what was used in the barrel before you put it in the barrel.
Right. Okay.
And so traditionally, rum is put in a porter sherry barrel, so you can really kind of pull the sweetness of the porter, the sherry into it. Here in the States, a lot of times they use a bourbon barrel. We actually...
so that brings me to, so are any of these barrel aged then?
No. So we... one of the components of, they're not barrel aged. These are not barrel aged. We did notice that we were pulling in some good notes from the oak that we're using from our aged rum barrels, and so we actually broke down some barrels and used some of the staves to pull in some of that oak without overpowering the spices. Our barrel aged one, we do have a barrel aged rum as well, and our twist on it is we wanted to make it a kind of a California rum, so we actually use Napa Valley cab barrels, and we're using silver oak barrels for our rum, and it's coming out beautifully. It's just a great sipper. It's not like a lot of the rums that are out there. It's incredibly clean. It doesn't have any of that syrupy quality to it.
Right.
And it finishes with some great cab notes from the barrels.
That's awesome. Very cool. And talk about the bottles a little bit, because I love your bottles, and I was reading you guys kind of, you spent some time on those too.
Yeah, we did. So one of the things about when you're starting up a distillery, as you know, there's a a big time lag where
Yes.
you're getting a lot of approvals and stuff.
It's hurry up and wait.
Exactly. I mean, we've been at this. We've only been on the market for a year, but we've been at this for 3 years.
Right.
And so, so your imagination can kind of run away with you. So one of the things that we want to do is kind of tie everything back to the Malahat. So we actually found a 1920s era decanter that we really loved, and had the bottle fashioned after that 1920s decanter to kind of stick with that Prohibition theme. So when you look at the bottle, it actually it number one is shaped like the 1920s era decanter, but it also has ripples and imperfections in there like you would find in a 1920s era bottle, and that was very purposeful. And kind of one of the fun things, kind of tying everything back again at our tasting room, we actually were able to pull a lot of artifacts from the Star of India and the San Diego Maritime Museum.
Okay, cool.
And
I haven't been up there yet, but I've heard a lot of great things.
Oh yeah, you should definitely come by. We have so a lot of the blocks, tackles, ropes, a lot of the elements that we have in there are actually from the Star of India and the San Diego Maritime Museum.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and right now for Halloween we kind of it'll kind of remind you of Pirates of the Caribbean a little bit. We have some skeletons and a fog machine going in there too. So
nice.
If you want to come by.
And so where is the tasting room?
It's off of Miramar on Production Avenue. We're kind of in the heart of a lot of the breweries over there. So
and you guys spent a lot of time designing that space too, right?
We did. We spent a ton of time on that, and we again did we did a lot of the work ourselves. We demoed it ourselves. We did a lot of the framing for the place. We really wanted to get our hands on every aspect of the facility, the bottles, the labels, the product itself, the rum and the whiskey. So
very cool. And you guys hand number each bottle and all that stuff.
We do. Every bottle is we sign every bottle. One of the distillers signs every bottle, and we batch and bottle number each one. So
very cool. And so your plans are, so you have these 4.
Yes.
And then your plans are to do the barrel aged rum. And then a couple whiskeys as well?
Yeah, so the barrel-aged rum is almost 2 years now. We're going to release that next year. And then our straight bourbon is actually going to be released next year as well.
So tell me about that. How do you, because, for better or worse, being on the vodka side of the world, it's easy, right? We make it, we infuse it, we put it out. So the barrel stuff, you're doing your barrel-aged rum, and like you said with these other ones, you spent so much time trying to figure out exactly how to get the right flavor. Well, now you have to just leave it sitting there for 2 years, and then... Yeah, is it a lot of hope, or do you taste it along the way, or how do you decide could it possibly not work out?
Oh yeah, it could definitely not work out. In fact, we had one barrel that we're dumping out. So one of the things is you never know how it's going to come out in a barrel until until time passes on. And so we had several different batches that we put in there, and we kind of tweaked each one just a little bit, just to see what it would do, based on some of the research that we've done.
Right.
And the amazing thing is that over the course of when you reach about month 4.5, that's when everything really kind of changes, and you could see the direction of the aging process. And so from there, when we see the direction really kind of changing and shifting, we make the decision at that point, because we'll have several different experiments going on at the same time. At that point, we make the decision, okay, this is the right way to do it. It's coming out so much better, and it just makes a huge difference on the flavor profile. So we've experimented with different char levels. We've experimented with different batches, because
it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work,
yeah.
and it kind of goes back to that kind of being very thorough about the recipe development, right down to the barrels.
Right. Cool. And so what are the tasting room hours people want to come by?
So right now we are Friday and Saturday from 12 to 7.
Okay.
And we're hoping to expand that at some point. We've been on the road marketing a lot lately, so we've actually instead had to cut back some of the hours. But as we staff up our tasting room, we'll be able to expand those hours.
Cool.
Especially with the new law that just passed.
Instagram and Twitter, Nicksology SD, at Nicksology SD. And we have Steve Kozyk from Kilowatt Brewing, who's enjoying the rums as much as I am, and Ken Lee from Malahat. So Ken, we were talking off the air, so because I was curious that spiced rum has a great color to it, but that doesn't come from the barrels, you said, right? That didn't work out, so it's all just the infused ingredients?
Exactly. So we tried doing it pre-distillation and post-distillation, and as well as putting it actually in a barrel.
Right.
And so what ended up happening is you ended up pulling too much of the oak, and so that didn't work out.
Right,
and so we found it to just be much better as an infusion, as you really start pulling a lot of the different flavor notes from all the different spices that are in there.
That's so cool. And then you've got we're about to try the ginger one, right?
Yes.
And so that's just raw ginger.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually hand peel every ginger root, and kind of going back to only using natural ingredients. And one of the things that we really wanted to do with this is, to make it unique, like all of our products. Really wanted to pull the citrus notes and the flavors, and pull that through forward, and then finish it up with some of the heat at the end.
Right.
And so it's really easy to punch up any ginger product. All you got to do is macerate it, cut it really finely. So it was really a matter of testing so many different ways to slice the ginger, just so that you can make sure that you arrest some of the heat, and really pull that citrus forward. And so basically first we tried ginger from all over the world.
Right.
And then from there, once we isolated an area, it was a function of just slicing it just right. So we did everything from, macerating it, putting it in a Vitamix, and to one time I was driving through the drive-through at In-N-Out and saw the French fries being made, and I thought, hey, we'll try that too. Got a French fry press, and that didn't work out at all. And so it finally came down to, we found the right way to slice it. Works out well, and by limiting the amount of surface area you have on the ginger, you actually pull that citric acid, the citrus, forward.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to get you drunk and pick your brain on this, because we've been trying to do a ginger vodka.
Oh yeah,
we get a lot of requests for it, and we're not even close yet. So I haven't done a lot of experimenting with it yet. We've been working on other things, but this is phenomenal, dude. Because you're right, it's got that flavor, but not. It's not that heat of it's really good.
And that's the first thing I picked up on was the citrus notes.
Oh yeah,
It's great.
Which I didn't know existed in ginger. Until I was drinking this.
Yeah, we kind of found out the hard way too, because the first time we were hand peeling the ginger, we didn't realize we needed to wear gloves for that. So we literally got acid burns on our hands.
Oh no, kidding!
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, totally healed and we're fine, but just kind of one of the growing pains.
Oh man. Very nice. And then, all right, what's this last one? I don't think I've heard of this one before.
Yeah, so this is our black tea. So basically, tried many different ingredients and started working with different types of teas. We found that the black tea worked the best. The boldness of the black tea leaves actually was a great complement to the rum. And what it did was it just gave a really well-balanced palate. The flavor notes are, you get a lot of the softness of the black tea notes in,
right.
And but the amazing thing is that as subtle as that could be, when you put it into a cocktail, the black tea really kind of pulls through really nicely.
It pops out, yeah.
An Arnold Palmer with this thing is just ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Man, that's so good. Yeah, that's phenomenal. And so, do you try and obviously source everything fresh and whatever, so the tea is the same thing.
Exactly.
You source that stuff. And then, so tell us a little about the name Malahat. It came from a rum running ship or something, right?
Yeah, so when,
you guys did a lot of research before. I mean, it sounds like, you guys are all background in finance, but it sounds like you're all like mad scientists and researching, going to the library, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of mad scientists in us, and we're very, very thorough in everything that we do, and very, I mean, that's why we spend so much time even with the recipe development. But so when we set out to do this, we really wanted to tie the distillery to San Diego.
Right.
And so, we did what anyone else would do, just did a Google search on distillation in San Diego, and there wasn't a whole lot that we found in there. So we went down to the public library, went down to the archives over there, scoured through a bunch of the old archives, and again, couldn't find a whole lot on distillation in San Diego. So from there, we went ahead and went to the San Diego Historical Society, went down to the basement of Balboa Park over there, went down to the archives, and we went through everything from articles to tax ledgers to anything that we can get our hands on, and we really couldn't find anything again.
Right.
And then we started coming across these articles about how the Coast Guard was having trouble with these rum running ships that were supplying all the booze to California, and during Prohibition.
Okay.
And the largest of these rum running ships was the Malahat. It actually carried more contraband.
Kilowatt. We just started bottling. We got our label approval from the ABC a couple weeks back, and
fun,
right? And that took a while, but we got that done, and so we've been slowly. We reinvest. We don't pull any money out of our brewery. Reinvest every penny back into the brewery. So we've been slowly but surely building up our bottling equipment and our merchandiser, so we can sell bottles. And so I got two of the first off the line here today to share with you guys, and we've got a chocolate macadamia stout, and then a smoked cardamom Scotch ale.
Dude, your beers, I'm trying to remember what you brought last time, but one of them was, I think, maybe a pepper or something. I can't remember.
Right.
I should keep this down. But they were so good, dude. They were so good. And that's one of the things I like about Kilowatt is you guys do, I mean, because it's really easy to go crazy with experimentation and go, oh, we're going to put, chocolate, whatever into a beer.
Right.
But your stuff is so nuanced and so good, and I can't wait to try these, dude. Chocolate macadamia stout.
And there's a lot of parallels, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Nick, because as Ken mentioned earlier, there's a lot of parallels between what he spoke about and what we do too. I mean, talking about hand slicing vanilla beans and all the experimentation and innovation that goes into making some of these beers. I mean, there are a lot of batches that go down the drain. There are a lot of batches that.
Well, we talked about that last time because you sent me that little electric kettle, that link to the electric kettle, so I could do it. But I'm just going to come use yours when I get the
anytime.
When I get the bug. I know.
Anytime, you're welcome to.
Because I do have some cool ideas for some beers, but I mean, let me put it this way. I think I have some cool ideas for some beers. We'll probably end up throwing them away. We'll see. But
we brew Mondays and Tuesdays, and we're starting to do some Wednesdays and Thursdays as well. We're actually brewing right now as we speak.
Oh, nice.
Our head brewer Chris Calva, our assistant brewer Ryan Sharippa, and a couple of the other guys there, Colby and Devin. And come by after the show and brew with us today if you want. There's still time.
I wish I could. So yeah, dude, let's try one of these.
All right, let's start with the.
Tell me where to go.
This is the smoked cardamom Scotch ale, and so I'm gonna get this bottle open here.
Yeah, with my fancy bottle opener.
Yeah. And this beer is.
So say it again. It's smoked.
It's a smoked beer.
Right.
It's smoky cardamom Scotch ale.
So it's cardamom. That's a great ingredient, I think.
Yeah, and it's black cardamom. There's green and there's black. We use black. Black's got kind of a little bit of a smoky flavor and a mentholy flavor to it a little bit. So in this beer.
And so refresh my memory, what makes something a Scotch ale? Because I love Scotch ales, I just don't know what that means.
It's really the malt bill. It's about the malt bill and the malts you use. There's a couple different styles of Scotch ales. With ours, we use a peated malt. We use, we use your 2-row. We use some crystal malts as well, and we smoke our own grains. So in this, with this beer, what we did was, 4th of July weekend, we got the smoker out, and we all got together, all owners and brewers, and we had a nice little get together, and we got some 2-row and we smoked it, and then we also take the black cardamom pods, and then we condition that on the mezcal, and then we remove the mezcal. And then so you get the smokiness from the black cardamom pods, some of the residual mezcal, and then of course the smoked grain. So there's 3 different smoky components in this beer, and it's not over the top though. You're not getting blown out by the smoke.
That's what I'm saying. I never would have thought of cardamom as a beer ingredient, but this tastes amazing.
That
tastes
amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
No, and because it could easily be way too over the top.
Right.
And I don't usually like smoky things either. I love Scotch, but not smoky Scotch. I'm a Macallan guy. The minute I feel like I'm drinking the remnants of a bonfire, I'm kind of out. But this tastes amazing, dude. This is really good.
And that's the thing when you go over the top with the smoke, it just blows out your palate.
Right.
You get this smoky flavor. It's like taking a bite out of a fresh onion, and then you go to drink the next beer, and all you're doing is tasting smoke. That's the last thing you want to do. So, although we are experimenting with doing like a meat beer. So you're taking marinade ingredients that you'd marinate meat with and smoked malts. I know it sounds disgusting.
No, I'm trying to picture in my head how this works. Yeah,
but it's really cool because there's some really amazing marinades out there that take advantage of different fruit and spices and even coffee beans. And so we're coming up with we're actually partnering with Grill Fellas on this, and they've got some amazing marinades that they do, and so we're gonna experiment with that as well. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So you did this part of it was just invite the fam over and do a 4th of July 2-row smoking?
Yeah, we've done this before.
Awesome.
Our head brewer Chris Calva. We know each other from up on the mountain near Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead. He actually lives up there, and he's down here part time and part time up there. And I have a really small, sketchy cabin, up there close by to him. And that's how we know. That's how the brewery started.
Okay.
We're neighbors. And so we just go up there 4th of July. We're up in the trees, up in the mountains, and just having a good time, drinking beer and smoking grains.
That's awesome.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah,
That's so cool. And then so is this the only smoked beer you guys do right now, or do you have other? I mean, or actually, more specifically, was it the first time you've tried to kind of smoke stuff? Because I think that's a. I mean, I'm trying to think really hard, but I think it's a newer thing for me. I don't think I've seen much smoked. I mean, like what gave you the idea to just try and do the smoked beer?
Well, you've got the Rauch beers, which are German smoked beers, and so you'll see those.
I'm not familiar, so maybe that's why I'm not really familiar with that style.
You know, you'll see those around here and there, but they're not particularly common in San Diego. You'll see them more in northern areas, and in Europe they're much more common as well. But yeah, Chris had been homebrewing for over 10 years when we got the idea to open the brewery, and he had experimented with a lot of smoked beers. So he's got well over a decade under his belt of trying different grains to smoke and different amounts, and of course different woods too, because this particular.
Sorry, we're busy stealing more beer. Dude, honestly, when you said smoked cardamom, I'm like, that sounds amazing. I'll have a few sips, and now I'm like, I need another glass of that, dude.
No, it's delicious.
It's really good.
Right yeah. Because we actually you can use different woods to smoke the grain with too, right? So in this case, we actually used applewood from Chris's applewood tree in his front yard. He's got a tree there. He cuts the branches off and lets them season for at least a year. So we smoked some of the grain with that, and then we actually smoked some of the grain. We soaked the grain in sake. I'm sorry, not the grain. We soaked the wood. We soaked the wood in sake, not the grain.
Wait a minute.
Oh yeah, that would be kind of funky. But actually, now that I said
that's not a bad idea either.
Maybe that's the next thing we're going to try. But we actually smoked. We had alderwood, and we soaked that in sake as well. And then you actually get steam too. The first wave of heat that gets applied to the grain is actually steam, and then it turns to smoke. So it's
so you just use some of the grain, right? Not all of it, or I mean, how do you?
Yeah, just the.
You said they did the 2-row, right?
Correct, and we even use. I'd say in this recipe, it's probably about 30% of the base grains are smoked, and then the remaining is just regular 2-row. So probably you're looking at somewhere around 20% of the grain bill is smoked.
So. Is this? Are you planning on doing this as a one-time thing, or are you gonna? I mean, this particular because you said you went through the label approval and all that, right? So is this something you're going to keep as a stable? Because I'm hoping the answer is yes.
Yeah, okay. We are. We are. This is one that it's just it's not one of our top-selling beers, but it is something that draws a lot of interest. So when people see it, they go, "What? Really? I've never seen anything like this before." So we've consistently had it on tap. I think there's only been a small period where we haven't. So yeah.
Well, dude, talk about local. You're knocking down apple trees in somebody's yard.
Right.
I mean, that's as local as it gets. What happens if you run out of apple tree?
It's a pretty big tree, so but I hope we do actually, because that means we're making a lot of this beer.
Making a lot of beer. Cool. Yeah. So what led you to the cardamom though? That's my biggest question. Like, is that something you tried before, or you just? Because I think I asked you this last time. I ask sort of all the time. It's because it's intriguing to me. Because I feel like it's almost. Here's the thing. I love to cook,
right?
But I feel like I'm a pretty good chef. I can make some decent stuff at home. But my dad is one of those guys who can walk into your house and start, open some cupboards and go, okay, this is what we're having for dinner.
Yeah.
And I can't do that at all because I can't when I go, oh, you know what? I'm making some lentils. This sounds really good. Well, I mean, extra cloves have got to be good, right? And then no, clearly not good at all, right? Because I just don't have that. I guess I call it the ear, but that taste for the thing. So like cardamon's one of those things. I love it. I have no idea what to do with it. I wouldn't know what to cook with it or how to use it, but it tastes awesome in this thing. So how did that come about as a pairing?
Yeah, we take a lot of our inspiration for a lot of our recipes from as you mentioned, from food recipes, desserts, and even a lot of tea recipes as well, different types of teas. So in this case, we make our own chai. We make our own chai blend for our coconut chai porter.
Okay.
And so we use green green cardamom in that recipe, and I was like, what's the difference between green and black? So we got some of the black, and
I didn't even know.
We took a pull off of a couple of those pods, cut them open, and we were like, whoa, there's a lot of flavor in here. That it goes a long way. So we don't use very much cardamom at all in this because it's a very strong spice. But it just worked. We tried it out. We did a couple of test batches, a couple pilot batches. We blew up the first one. It was no good. And then we went from there, and we're still working on it. We're constantly trying to.
No, but it tastes amazing. Like I said, it's just one of those things I wouldn't have thought of to put in a beer.
And it's really well balanced too. I mean, it's just a really enjoyable, drink because it doesn't hit you too hard with the smokiness, and it doesn't hit you too much with the cardamom. It's just really well balanced. It's excellent.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like, I guess I'm just kind of always odd at this stuff because, like I said, I'm on the low level with these infusions, but even like your spiced rum, like how do you're thinking of all the different things you could put in there and then getting them to balance out, and I can't imagine the amount of experimentation that took, but even this, like, it's so good. Like, cardamom, it's kind of blowing me away, I guess, because the cardamom is something I wouldn't think of to put in a beer, and it tastes awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I do want to give a small little plug, though, just because it was the craziest thing I've had, and I thought it was going to be, I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be disgusting. But I was at the San Diego Beer and Music Festival this weekend, and Half Door Brewing, the guys downtown.
Oh, they're great guys, yeah.
Dan. They're the other one. Yeah, he was on one of our early shows.
Mm-hmm.
And it blows me away some of the stuff they come up with, but they were there and they literally call it the gimmick ale, which I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's vanilla cafe latte ale. And I was like, all right, pour me some, but this is going to be horrible. And we got back in line.
Yeah.
It was so good. And that's one of those crazy things too. Like, I don't even know how he makes it or what you would put in it. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing. If I was at the festival, I walked up, I see smoky cardamom scotch ale. They all sound like things that would taste good to me, but I'll give it a try. And man, this is so good, dude. So good.
It's fun doing those types of things. With San Diego Beer Week coming up, which is November 6th through the 15th. There's stuff happening all over town. We have a bunch of things happening at the brewery as well. We've got 6 different green tea ales that we're releasing.
Well, you guys, I was going to say, I noticed on your Facebook, I was looking through, you guys have a ton of new things coming out, right?
Yeah, we've got a passion. We got 6 different versions of green tea. We got a passion fruit version, lavender citrus, pomegranate, peach ginger, blackberry mint, and a blueberry white chocolate. So we're gonna tap that on the 6th, and we'll see how long it goes.
Yeah, dude. And I'm trying to remember the things you brought in last time, but they were just amazing beers, dude. And stuff like I said, you look at it and you go, I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting ingredient list, and it just comes out awesome.
I think we had one of them was the French oak vanilla bourbon.
That's the one. Yeah, because I was like, oh, you do vanilla and bourbon. You had me right there. But even then, I was a little skeptical, and it came out awesome. That was really good. Yeah, really good. All right, well, what's the other one? The macadamia? Because I want to try that, but we have to take a break. But I don't know if you remember. I love macadamia nuts, and I love who doesn't love chocolate? So I'm dying to try that. So let's take a break real quick. We'll come back and then we'll try that. Oh man, I'm telling you, I can't wait. I'm salivating already. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700, brought to you by 619 Vodka, who reminds you to always drink responsibly. Find out more at 619vodka.com.
Hey, Mr. Credit here. If you ever catch me at happy hour, you'll probably catch me drinking a vodka martini. I don't always drink vodka, but when I do, I drink 619 vodka because it's local vodka from right here in San Diego. I know the owner, and you can meet him too. Go to 619vodka.com and think 619 vodka when you're out there having a good time. That's 619vodka.com. And of course, remember to always drink responsibly.
CS Keys here to tell you about San Diego's handcrafted ultra premium vodka, 619 Vodka. It's distilled and filtered 5 times, gluten-free, and made from 100% pure mountain spring water for a smooth, clean finish. It's a 2-time silver medal winner and a 2-time gold medal winner already in 2013. America's Finest City has America's Finest Vodka that everybody can experience. Just go to the website, 619vodka.com. If you know like I know, you better tell somebody.
Since 1950, Sid's Carpet Barn has been San Diego's floor covering leader. After 60 years in business, Sid's is still your everyday lowest price bargain leader for floor covering. No one beats Sid's Carpet Barn on price, quality, or customer service, and we have next day installation. Sid's Carpet Barn, your discount floor covering leader. With carpet from 59 cents a square foot, laminate and porcelain tile from 99 cents, and beautiful hand-carved and distressed wood flooring from $2.99. Sid's is your one-stop floor covering store. Come to Sid's Carpet Barn, where you can trust that your floor covering needs will be solved at a price that you can afford. Remember, Sid's Carpet Barn always offers next day installation. Sid's Carpet Barn, 132 West 8th Street, National City, in North County at 285 East Carmel Street, San Marcos off the 78, and our newest showroom at 7666 Miramar Road.
Geico applauds your inner park ranger.
Mother Nature appreciates the part of you that knows the difference between the red-bellied and the three-toed woodpecker. Geico also has specialized agents who admire your gusto for the great outdoors. Agents who help with more than just car insurance. These Geico agents can insure the RV that will take you and the whole family cross-country. The RV that makes National Forest synonymous with happy place. So what are you waiting for? 180 types of woodpeckers are ready to be identified.
Geico for your RV. See how much you could save.
Today's Porkcast is looking mighty delicious. We'll have some smoky hot pork chops starting at around 5 p.m. with a cool cucumber tomato salad breezing in from the north at about 6. It'll be a beautiful evening.
Looks like they can't do that.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that. We're back. Little technical difficulties, but we're back on the air. Got Ken Lee from Malahat. Man, those I'm just. I might try and steal one of those before we go home. And then Steve Kozyk from Kilowatt. And so, Steve, yeah, we got the chocolate macadamia. Let's break this open, dude.
Let's do it.
Wait. Yeah.
Let's get this thing done.
Can't wait to try this.
All right, so here we got the chocolate macadamia stout, and let me get these poured here real quick. I should have probably done that before we.
That's all right.
But I can talk and pour at the same time. So this one, excuse me.
Oh,
let me get this tea right here. So this guy, he's got macadamia nuts,
and that's the perfect amount of sweet too. I got to tell you,
that was one of the things
I was expecting it not to be sweet at all.
Oh wow!
But it's the perfect amount of sweet. Like I like the fact that they're sweet. I didn't expect it to be.
There's some chocolate syrup. There's actually a number of different things going on here as well. So this is a beer we had to experiment with quite a bit. We use raw cocoa nibs. That's the main ingredient in this beer. Once you get past the grain, the malts. So we use you can use it in the boil. You can dry chocolate, like dry hopping. You can actually use the cocoa nibs, condition the beer on the cocoa nibs in secondary fermentation, or you can do it. You can cold condition on it. So we tried in many different ways with this, and we use a combination of all three methods in different amounts. That's where you get the real chocolate flavor from. And then, with the macadamia nuts, it's the same thing. It's, you got the nuts, you're making an infusion with those nuts, removing the alcohol.
I was going to say, so do you just mash up the nuts and then literally infuse them?
They dissolve. They literally dissolve.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then they just whatever the particulates come out of the filtration.
Correct. Correct.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, I was just mentioning during the break that I'm a huge stout fan, and this thing is just fantastic.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
No, and because that's my thing too. Is when it comes to beers, the darker the better, kind of thing for me. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And this one's a low ABV too. I believe this batch is like around 5.2, something like that. And so we've got stouts that range from your sessionable stout like in this range, and then your 5% range, and then we've got an imperial stout called 163 Imperial Stout, and guy is closer to 10%. So that one's got more caramel flavors and things like that. So I love working with stouts. There's all kinds of specialty malts you can use too. So we've got a long way to go with our experimentation with stouts. We've done a lot of different things, and we're going to keep going.
I like it. I mean, so you said your head brew guy, he doesn't like the hops so much?
Yeah, Chris, Chris Calver, our head brewer, he's a malty guy and a dark beer guy. That's his personal palate and his personal preference. We all have our preferences. I'm kind of like, I'm bottom of the board and top of the board, so I'm more like, I like really dark beers, and I like the hoppy beers, and I like fruit beers. I'm not really a malty guy. So between all the owners, and then Rachel Fisher, our other owner, we put together the recipes, and so that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of varied styles. We have 20 beers on tap. We have 2 nitro taps, and we've got a lot of different styles of beer because we all have different palates, and so we are all able to kind of focus on the beers we like. And Chris makes great IPAs as well. He may not be the huge, the biggest hop fan, though. He's every day, I think he's coming over the good side of the force, getting closer. But yeah,
I'm kind of with him though. I mean, it's funny because I went through my phase where I like really hoppy beers, but then it got too crazy with the hops, and so but my go-to if I walk in is something like a Scotch ale or a stout where it's
we're getting
a little sweeter, little not, I mean, yeah, the right hoppy beer is great, but for the most part, it's just to be drinkable, like that stout's amazing.
Well, we're going to start doing soon here, I think after Beer Week, we're going to start doing once a month, we're going to do Hop Fatigue Friday, because I agree with you,
wait a minute, I'm totally on board with Hop Fatigue Friday. I love that idea.
Because
I wish I had thought of it, and it was a Nicksology thing.
It was first announced on your show.
Sweet,
so, right?
Hop Fatigue Friday.
Yeah,
I heard it here first.
Because the thing is, we find that not only are there people that aren't into IPAs by nature, by palate or preference, but also there are people that are really into IPAs, but after a while it's like, damn, I've been sucking on Christmas trees and drinking cat whatever urine flavored beers for so long now. I kind of want to dial it back.
Right,
and
totally.
I think it's good to focus on those beers that aren't over the top hoppy, that are more well balanced.
Hop Fatigue Friday.
Yeah.
I am so on board with that.
So
it's not even funny.
That's exactly why I started switching over to the stouts.
Oh.
Because of I got
hashtag Hop Fatigue Friday.
Yeah.
Done and done.
Right on.
Oh man. All right. Well, dude, that's our show, man. We kind of run up against it quick, but Steve from Kilowatt, thanks for coming out, dude. Those are amazing beers. Ken, what is it? KilowattBrewing.com?
Yeah, it's kilowatt.beer actually.
Oh, Kilowatt. Ooh, you got the fancy domain.
Yeah, .beer.
Kilowatt.beer.
And come check us out during Beer Week. We've got a ton of events. We're Kilowatt Beer on all of social media, and we got a lot of cool stuff happening. For this week coming up Thursday, we got a dessert and beer pairing. Friday or Halloween, we got a bunch of stuff going on. And then Beer Week, we got all kinds of events and special releases.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, we'll link to all those. Send me that stuff. We'll put it up on the website.
Yeah.
Ken, malahatspirits.com. Dude, seriously, amazing rums, dude. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, that's it. We'll see you here next week on Nicksology. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Thank you.